Hello.
Hello and a very good
Well,
afternoon to all of viewers. Welcome to MEC Hangout again. And today we have with us Professor Venkataraman, and he is from the Department of Inorganic and Physical Chemistry at MEC. And I would like to invite Professor Venkataraman to talk about himself first, and we'll move on to our questions for the day. Professor, all
Hi,
yours.
Praveen. Hi, Praveen. Thank you. Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session. I'm NV Venkataraman. I'm in the School of Basic Sciences or in the Department of Inorganic and Physical Chemistry at the MEC. I did my PhD in physical chemistry from the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore and working in the area of spectroscopy. And later on, I moved to Switzerland, working in the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, or what is called as ETH, in Zurich. I worked there as a postdoc initially for a few years, and then as a senior scientist. I was associated there with the Laboratory for Surface Science and Technology. There I was guiding PhD students and working on my own projects related to surface science and technology and chemistry of surfaces and interfaces. So this is a brief introduction about myself, and yeah, Praveen.
Okay, thank you for that very brief self-introduction, Professor. All right. The first question I would like to ask you, this is from my side, is about your role at MEC, at Mahindra Ecole Centrale.
All right. Okay. So as I mentioned, I'll be in the Department of Chemistry, if you would like to call it that way, teaching chemistry and laboratory courses on chemistry. And also I will be doing research work, continuing from my area of expertise, which is in the area in surface sciences and technology, and yeah, giving engineering students a flavor for science and chemistry would be my task at MEC.
Okay. Do you see a continuation in the role that you were performing at Zurich, where you've spent about 8 years, and what you're going to do here now? Do you see a connect, or do you see a kind of a different kind of activity altogether in the future for yourself?
I think there is it's a bit of both. I would say there is a connect in the sense that um, basically in Zurich, most of my time was spent on in research. So I understand here I will be playing more a role of a teacher and as well as a researcher. So there is a big change from my personal work-wise. In that sense, there is a change. But of course, I would like to take forward some of the ideas which I formulated or which I worked on during my time in Zurich here as well. So in that sense, there is a continuation. So it's actually both. So there is a continuation in terms of the research that I will be doing at MEC, and it's actually a little bit of a new role for me as a teacher in basically teaching like very basic chemistry subjects, which will be a change in from my role as far as my Zurich experience is concerned. So it's a bit of both continuation as well as a new beginning, if I may say. Praveen?
Exactly. Yeah. Even for MEC, it's a new and exciting beginning in the higher education sector. And Mahindra Group has tied up with Ecole Centrale Paris to enable this transformation in engineering studies in the country. And coming back to MEC, I would like to ask you, what is it that has attracted you the most to MEC?
Yeah, there are a few factors. One, of course, is the fact that this collaborative venture between an industry and the academia in terms of Tech Mahindra Group pitching into this educational sector, and together with the partnership with ECP, which is a well-established engineering school in France. So this is the most attractive part as far as from my standpoint, the experience of ECP and the technological company like TechM coming into partnership to start a new venture in engineering education in this country. So I'm looking forward to the what it holds in the future. I'm as much excited as some of the students who are going to come here to study. Praveen?
Yeah, I'm sure you are, Professor. And on the same point that you were speaking, when you've first heard the name Mahindra Ecole Centrale, which part of it rang a bigger bell in your mind? Was it the Mahindra tag or the Ecole Centrale tag?
Being having been in Europe, I mean, having spent a lot of time in Europe, I must be honest in confessing that it's the Ecole Centrale which rang a bell in my head, if you want to call it that way. But of course, I was very much excited to know that Mahindra Group is forming this collaborative venture with Ecole Centrale, because Ecole Centrale is something which we all have heard. Anybody who had worked in Europe for some time would all have heard about the name of Ecole Centrale, because Ecole Centrale has many different centers. Not only in Paris, it has got centers in different parts of France. So I even had worked with somebody in one another Ecole Centrale, not the Paris one. So Ecole Centrale definitely I could connect much more readily with. And of course, the fact that Mahindra Group is coming into this engineering education in a big way was also quite a promising thing for me to see. And I look forward, as I said, to making a good beginning in this place, and wish the same for the students who will be joining here as well.
Thank you, Professor. I mean, the way I look at it, your thinking is quite natural. You're academia. You represent the academic side of the collaboration, and Mahindra represents the industry side of the collaboration. And Mahindra Ecole Centrale is both in letter and spirit a representation of this industry and academia connect.
Right.
And that's what it is trying to do even outside, even for the students who are going to join it soon.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and we have one question from Mr. Ankur Agarwal, age 21. I leave you the choice of responding to it the most appropriately, because the question he's asked is something pretty big. Okay, he wants you to explain him all the basics of inorganic chemistry. Can you do that?
Okay. Is there a way I could see the question somewhere? Or
I'm reading it out to you the way we've received it.
Okay.
Please explain me all the basics of inorganic chemistry.
Okay, I think my best answer to that question would be to come and sit in my lectures beginning in the next semester. But in short, I can say that there is a lot of connect between fundamental chemistry and engineering. It is often ignored, or I mean, like people don't pay that much emphasis to chemistry as such in engineering in general. But if you look at it more deeply, there's a lot of connect between many disciplines of chemistry, both organic, inorganic, and physical, with a lot of engineering, every aspect of engineering. Maybe I just give you a small example here. Like, let's say, like you're a mechanical engineering student, so you might wonder, like, why is chemistry important for a mechanical engineer to be yeah, why should I need to study chemistry? So, but if you look at it more carefully, many of the advanced problems in mechanical engineering, let's say, for example, lubrication of automobile engines, it's a very important chemistry problem. And in my previous group where I worked in the laboratory for surface science and technology, they are trying to understand what happens during the lubrication of engines. How do lubricants actually function? These are all require a lot of chemical knowledge, and then analyzing the engines and the chemistry of the chemical constituents of the engine oil and the different additives that are put into this engine oil. So this is just one example of how actually chemistry is relevant to different disciplines of engineering. So if you want to learn like a lot of inorganic, all the fundamentals of inorganic chemistry, I would say, yeah, you better come and sit in our lectures beginning next semester. That would be my best answer, probably.
I
Praveen?
think that's the most appropriate answer. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the most appropriate answer considering the circumstances. Inorganic chemistry and its basics cannot be, downloaded in an instant or in a few minutes.
Right.
But anyway, I congratulate the eagerness of the student to know everything in a few minutes. It's
Mm.
a, it's in the spirit of the day. And okay, the next question from my side would be, actually, you've answered it just now with what you've spoken. I wanted to ask you about the relevance of physical and chemical engineering to modern day engineering studies and
Yeah.
applied technology, which you
Okay.
did answer to an extent. And if you would like to add a little more to that.
Sure, sure. Okay, so I just explained you a little bit about why chemistry as such is relevant to different disciplines of engineering, which may not be obvious to students who just is beginning an engineering venturing into an engineering course. So maybe I can a little bit elaborate. Like let's take another discipline of engineering, for example, civil engineering. And why should a civil engineer be interested in chemistry? There's actually a very interesting engineering problem. As we know now, we are growing vertically. So we are no longer growing horizontally in terms of our buildings. So there is an engineering interesting problem that when you build high-rise buildings, it's people are finding it very difficult, or it's really very energy consuming to pump the concrete to very high to to bigger
Yeah,
and bigger heights.
yeah,
So this is a very important chemistry problem. So there are actually some cement companies which are coming up with certain chemical additives which they can actually add to the cement, which will in fact reduce the friction between the when they are pumped up. So this is actually one of the ways why, or one of the reasons why you need to understand the problems that of engineering are not isolated to or a certain discipline, but they need a broader approach. So this additive that I was talking about, these are just organic molecules which are synthesized by chemists who understand the interaction between cement and the surface of the tube that pumps the concrete to the higher heights. So these are some of the examples by which one can actually relate chemistry to engineering, which may not be necessarily obvious for first year engineering graduates. Praveen?
yeah. I think this also, in fact, epitomizes to some extent our multidisciplinary approach to engineering education, right? We are
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to.
precisely.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
right.
And coming back to the curriculum that you have in store for the students who are going to join you soon,
Mhm.
would you be able to talk a little bit about it from the chemical engineering perspective? What are the topics and subjects, and how does the courseware roll out over a period of 5 years for him or her?
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the emphasis of the curriculum has been on the practical knowledge, as I see it. As you might have also learned from other sessions or other interaction with other professors. So basically the emphasis on practical learning, such as project work or team projects, is quite high in this curriculum. So there is no better way to learn experimental sciences than to do a project. So no matter how well you are taught in a lecture and how well you understand the concepts, unless you get onto the field and do apply them, in this case, unless you get onto the lab and start to work as a chemist, so there are lots of practical problems that you will face and practical understanding that you will gain over a period of time. This cannot be taught in any lecture. So I think the most important difference or important distinguisher is the practical part of your learning. I think there is quite a lot of emphasis on this practical learning aspect in the curriculum, which I'm sure would help students to understand, not only understand but apply the knowledge that they gain during the lectures. Praveen?
Yeah, thank you, Professor. And now coming back to your good self, could you tell us about some of the interesting moments in your career working in Zurich, working in those most sought after laboratories in Europe. Share some of your experiences with us.
Yeah, I think I could say because I've lived quite long in Zurich, so I normally tell people Zurich is my second home, basically. So I never feel foreign when I go to Zurich. It's because I've lived there for quite long. So it's quite an exciting place, not only for living aspect, but it because it there is a lot of industry. When we talk about Switzerland, we normally don't associate industry with Switzerland, but there are lots of micro manufacturing industry which operate out of Zurich and also out of Switzerland. These are quite many times in academia. These companies come up with smaller projects or smaller collaborative projects with the academics where they don't have facilities to do their research by themselves. So it provides you with a lot of opportunities to get involved in this kind of very practical application related work when you work in a place like Zurich. And also the other thing that I would like to emphasize about Switzerland in general is that when you have an idea to when you think you have a good research idea or which could be made into a product, it's very easy to make a startup company. So, for example, the group in which I was working, during the time I spent in the group, there were smart PhD students who, out of their thesis, were able to make little startup companies. So this is the kind of, like directly they were able to apply their work and start a company immediately after their PhD work. And the both the university as well as the government culture there is very supportive of ventures like this. So it's much more easier to get involved in things like these. Praveen?
Just to interrupt you on that, Professor, you'll be delighted to know that what a country like Switzerland is doing, a company like Mahindra Group is actually doing in India through its unique initiative that has now become a movement called Spark the Rise, and the
Mhm.
recent $1 million Rise Prize challenge thrown open by the Mahindra Group to identify and encourage startups and entrepreneurs. It's a very unique achievement, and the fact that MEC is also tied up with this Rise Prize and the Spark the Rise movement should actually make you very happy, because we are now going to be part of an organization that is, breeding startups and entrepreneurship and innovation in the country.
Yeah, exactly. I was just quite excited to know about this initiative and having interacted with the people who are involved in this movement. It sounds like a very promising venture, which would surely result in some useful end product. I'm sure
Yeah,
that this is.
and professors like you and students who are interested in research would have ample opportunities of getting hands-on with products that are at the leading edge, at the cutting edge of innovation and entrepreneurship in the near future. So
Sure.
that brings us back to what you would have to share with the prospective students of MEC, those who are planning to join us in the near future. What is the message that you have for them? What is the word of encouragement or advice that you would have for them?
I think we have, as I mentioned before in the conversation, we have this collaboration between an industry and a experienced academic institution coming together. So there will always be both perspectives. I think the curriculum is designed in such a way that you get both the purely academic perspective and not only just stop at the academic perspective, also have the industrial perspective coming in from the Tech Mahindra group in terms of internships and in terms of.
Apprenticeships and industry collaborations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I guess there's a problem with the audio. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is a very unique opportunity probably for students who will start here to be involved in these little projects, and also there is, as I understand, there is project at the end of their fifth year, which lasts for about 6 months. So this is a purely hands-on work at the location of industrial location. So these are things that will, I'm sure, will sound very encouraging to students to be part of. And yeah, we are here to help them in every possible way that we could.
Fair enough, Professor. And as you all know, you and all the faculty members know, and most of our stakeholders know by now, and the students who are planning to join us know by now, we have positioned Mahindra Ecole Centrale as the institution that is ushering in the rise of the new engineer. So the new engineer paradigm is something that we are trying to create, shape, nurture, and share with the rest of the world soon. So from your perspective, how relevant do you think the concept of the new engineer is to the present day and to the emerging trends in technology and industry?
Okay. Yeah, actually, as I just mentioned about one of the aspects is a startup. Like, so what eventually is a good, who is a good engineer? I mean, like, who not necessarily just works for completes a given task, but who is also innovates, in some way, makes how to make existing things simpler, or how to make something completely new. So these are the tasks that for which people needs to be trained. And so this is one of the aspects of the new, if you call as a new engineer, is the one who is not able to complete a given engineering task, but it is the one who is always thinking about how to make things simpler, how to make things more smarter, how to make things more easier. So these are the aspects of the new engineer, and this is, you get these perspectives not by just learning about your courses, but you also by learning about the research which is going on in your respective fields, and this is what will make a new engineer.
Yeah, and also integrating this knowledge, this hands-on wisdom to the actual business necessities, the economic necessities, and the social requirements is
Yeah,
what will bridge the gap. And that's where the new engineer comes in. He will know not only how to ideate, how to create, but also how to position and supply to the market. Ultimately, he would have a whole life cycle understanding of this complete supply chain, as it were.
right,
So,
perfect.
and I think the edge of the research edge that your presence and other faculty members like you are going to impart to the curriculum would go a long way in ensuring that we come out with really quality products and services for the country and society and the world at large. So, Professor, I think we have exhausted our questions for the day. Would you have any parting comments to share with the audiences for today?
um, I think I'm going to share something very specific to chemistry, which, as I mentioned, this was my opening remark, and I also would like to make it my closing remark. That is, often in engineering disciplines, chemistry is seen as, people think about chemistry courses as mere way of completing their requirement to become with the coursework or something like as a mandatory one. But instead, they should be looking at chemistry as an opportunity to better understand their respective disciplines of engineering, and not only that, but they should also look at chemistry as a fundamental to several disciplines of engineering. And hopefully, we here at MEC would like to give a much different perspective of chemistry to the people who will be joining us quite soon. Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to do that, Professor. And I thank you very much for your time today and for sharing your insights and opinions with our viewers and answering our questions as well. And we hope to have you again on a Hangout soon. And we wish you all the best for the commencement of the first academic session at MEC. And I also thank the viewers today for joining us. And watch out for our next broadcast, next Hangout session soon. You'll be apprised of that via Facebook and email. Thank you very much for joining
Yeah, thanks a
us.
lot, everybody. Thank you.